This is exercise 3-4, parts A and B. So here we're looking at little excerpts from real music or entire pieces, and we are figuring out what chord is being used at any given moment. For part A, we're just using lead sheet symbols. So to figure out chords, what we do, we take an inventory of all of the notes that are in the chord, and then from there we can figure out what the chord is. I like to start from the bottom and work my way up. It doesn't matter what clef you use whatever clef is most convenient and easy to read for you, and we're going to take an inventory of all the notes that we have. So we have an E. I'm going to pick an E, I'll put it there, and now I'm going to try to build a snowman around this E. I've put this E on a line, so any other notes that I add in the chord have to also be on a line. So I have an E. There's another E. I don't need to rewrite the E. Then I have a G. Put a G there. I have a B flat. Put the B flat there. I have a C sharp. C sharp I can't put on the space there. That doesn't build a good looking snowman. So instead I'll find a line where a C exists. I'll put my C sharp down there, and then I finally have another E. So now that I've stacked this up in thirds, I've made a super snowman. I can tell that this is a 7th chord. I can tell that the root is C sharp, and now if I look at the interval structure, I can tell what kind of chord this is, what the quality of the chord is. So we'll figure out what kind of triad we have, then we'll figure out what kind of 7th chord we have. So the triad here, C sharp to E is a minor third, and C sharp to G is a diminished 5th. So this is a diminished triad. And then C sharp to B flat is a diminished 7th. Let's look at that one real quick. So C sharp, the key of C sharp is all sharps. C sharp major, all sharps. So that would mean that C sharp to B sharp would be a major 7th, which means that C sharp to B would be a minor 7th, and then what I have here, C sharp to B flat, is a diminished 7th, right? Major 7th, made smaller by a half step, becomes minor. Made smaller by another half step, becomes diminished. So this is a 7th chord that has a diminished triad and a diminished 7th, which means it is a fully diminished 7th chord. So that's what I'm going to write here. But then I have one more step to do. Now I have to look at what note is in the bass, which member of the chord is in the bass. So here, the lowest note is E. E is the 3rd of the chord, so this is a first inversion chord. But in lead sheet notation, all I do is write the bass note. So this is a C sharp fully diminished 7th chord over E. Part B, I'm doing the same thing, but just with a couple of extra steps, a couple of extra things that we have to label. So let's look at this first chord here. And you want to make sure that you're being careful about the key signature. So the key signature, we have B and E flat in the key signature. That means that all of the B's and all of the E's are not B naturals and not E naturals, but B flats and E flats, unless there is a natural sign in front of them. So let's look at this first chord. We'll do the same thing. We're going to take inventory of what notes are in this chord and stack it into a snowman or a super snowman. My lowest note is a G. The next note up is also a G. This note is a B flat because of the key signature. So a B flat. And then finally I have a D. So I have two Gs, a B flat, and a D. So I know this is some kind of G triad. So we'll look at the interval structure. G to B flat is a minor third. G to D is a perfect fifth. So this is a G minor triad. All right. So looking at our worksheet, the root of this chord is G. The type, meaning the quality, is minor. I want to make sure I'm drawing this so that it's clearly a lowercase m, not an uppercase m. And then the BPS, the bass position symbol, this is a root position chord. G is in the bass. So we can leave this blank, or we can say 5-3. Check your textbook for all of the bass position symbols in Chapter 3. In Chapter 3 of the textbook, there is a chart that shows all the different bass position symbols for both triads and seventh chords. There's different sets for triads and seventh chords. It's just something you have to memorize. It's not a big deal. But check that, have that open while you're using your homework.